Welcome to Three Geeks. Welcome to the Three Geeks Podcast. My name is Jason, joined by Philip, Mike, and Dan. Max is currently MIA, but we're holding out hope that he shows up. We have a new producer on the show running the boards for us, so thank you, Liz, for doing that, running the cameras and phones. If you want to give us a call, it is 814-313-4335 or 814-313-GEEK. Give us a shout out. Let us know. We're going to be talking about Batman v Superman a little bit tonight, Daredevil Season 2, so join in on the conversation. You can also tweet at 3 Geeks Podcast to join the conversation as well. Tonight's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/3geeks. They have over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. I say this every week, but I'm a user of Audible, and it definitely gets me through some long drives. And I know Dan has been using Audible a lot too. What do you think of the service so far, Dan?
I like it. I've downloaded 3 different books. I've gotten about halfway in all 3 of them. It's pretty cool.
Nice. Also, check out Mike's YouTube channel at youtube.com/Mike McGTV. Him and Max just recorded a To the Chat Cave over there where they discuss Batman v Superman in detail. So definitely check that out. They, give some notes on what they would have done differently, and there's a lot of things that anybody could do differently to make that movie a little bit better. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Also, we are on TeePublic now. I don't have the exact link in front of me, but if you click in the description of this video, there is a link. Click there, check it out. The shirts are on sale, and you can find your own 3 Geeks merchandise. Also, I want to give a quick shout out to Potter and Family. Thank you so much for the retweets, the shares, the likes, everything you guys do to help grow our Twitter page. We greatly appreciate it. Also, Arc Matter. We met him over at Columbus Comic-Con, Domo Batman. He's been shouting us out on his YouTube channel, so I wanted to give him a quick shout-out. Check that out. You can follow him on Twitter at ArcMatter. So, yeah, and I just tweeted out his link to his YouTube channel, so definitely check all of them out. Thanks again for all the support, everybody. If you're watching us live, click that subscribe button down below. It helps us a lot. Click the like, leave a comment. Let us know what you think of all the topics we discuss, whether you agree with us, disagree. It doesn't matter. We want to hear about it. So, Batman v Superman is the talk this weekend. We actually ran a Twitter poll, and most of our audience really liked the film. In second place was the dislikes. Third was people who thought it was okay, and then coming in fourth was people who thought it was boring. So thanks for participating in that. That was a lot of fun. But Batman v Superman did $170.1 million domestically and $424 million worldwide. So that proves that this movie is critic-proof. I mean, all the critics hated on this film, and we've had our differences, but the one thing that I take out of this is that means we are going to get more, and I just hope that DC will learn from some of the mistakes that they made in this film moving forward, because there are elements of Batman v Superman that could have worked, should have worked, that I want to see more of. Like, I want to see more of Ben Affleck's Batman, and these numbers let me know that all of that should still continue. But Philip, these box office numbers for Batman v Superman, are you honestly surprised?
Moderately. I mean, more surprised about the American numbers, not the worldwide. It's got Batman and it's got Superman. You're going to pull in the money. I was curious to see how well the world would take to it. I didn't think it would be quite this good on its first weekend, which basically, because I was wondering whether or not it was going to easily hit $1 billion. It seems like it will. I figured it should. I pretty much think if you make a superhero movie now, that should be your bar, is can we hit $1 billion? Obviously, notwithstanding Deadpool and other features that aren't quite so popular, But what will be interesting is to see where they go with this. I don't think you're going to see it canceled, Jason. I think you're going to it's going to move forward. More what will be interesting to see is how it moves forward. Just because if this keeps going, I'm really curious to see next weekend is if this keeps the pace that I expect to see it overseas, this could probably be like Jurassic Park, which is, or Jurassic, what is it, not Park, Jurassic World, no. Oh God, what the hell was the last one? I forgot.
Jurassic World.
It was Jurassic World? Okay.
Yes.
I was hoping for some help. Everyone just let me there on an island. I feel like we're playing Survivor here. But yeah, so it could be like Jurassic World where it does decently well here, but it does amazing overseas. Or even the Transformers. That's another one that does insanely well overseas. I don't think this is as bad as Transformers. Oh God, no, that's an inappropriate thing to compare to. I mean, there were things I liked. I want to see it again, I guess, maybe. I don't know, to see if maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe my first watch missed something. I don't know. Dan, what are your thoughts?
I'm not surprised in the box office. I mean, even if it was an awful movie, which I don't think it was, but, I mean, people are going to go to see the train wreck, and people are going to go for the name recognition. So, you know, it's going to make its money regardless. And, yeah, I think you're right. I mean, I think the most interesting part of this is where they're going to go after it. I mean, I'm in favor of making, you know, somewhat shorter movies that flesh out stuff, but I have no idea if they're going to do that or just keep the train rolling. Yeah, I mean, and it'll sell in Europe because it's a gigantic American blockbuster with Batman and Superman. It just hits too many demographics not to. And that's all I got. So, Mike.
Yeah, I'm not surprised it did that well because I had a feeling, regardless if the movie was bad or not, it was going to be, like you said, the brand recognition and the fact that it is, for the first time ever, you see these two characters together, flesh and blood, on the big screen. That's something a lot of people have been waiting for decades, honestly. So, yeah, I'm not surprised the numbers are that good. I'm sure it'll do really well overseas, too. But my kind of hope for this is that they keep going ahead. I mean, they have a plan in place, and they have a slate of films in place, and that you just go ahead with the plan. This movie isn't unsalvageable, basically. Yeah, I'm not really hating on the movie. I'm a little let down by it, definitely. And Max and I get into some details about, you know, things that kind of bothered us about it, but at the same time, it's not a death blow for the DC universe because you can still keep building off of it, and you can still keep moving forward with other properties. Like, we're going to have another movie from this universe in 4 months. So, I just say, if anything, that DC and Warner Brothers takes to heart, it's that maybe get the guy, Zack Snyder, to perhaps be in a different position than being the helmsman of the Justice League franchise all the way through. As far as I know, he's already locked in as director for Part 1. Maybe negotiate to have him just be a creative consultant or a director of photography, because he can set up a shot beautifully, but his pacing and story structure are severely lacking. So, you know what? Keep him on board. He's got a good look for the universe, but maybe just don't give him that much creative control. And vary it up, too. Like, Marvel benefits from having a universal kind of idea or vision, but at the same time, they have different directors and different creative teams tackling their movie properties, and it all can seem to gel well into one universe, but at the same time, each film can have a unique identity to it at the same time. So that's all I got for that. Back to you, Jason.
Thanks, buddy. But yeah, I called Max yesterday because I had this overwhelming urge to see this movie again yesterday. And I remember when Dark Knight Rises came out, which is a movie I really enjoyed, but Max hated it, and he went and saw it in the theaters, I think 3, 4, 5 times, and I couldn't understand why you'd go to the movie theater so many times for a movie that you either didn't like or disappointed by, because I was disappointed by it when I first saw it. And I just had this urge to go watch Batman v Superman again yesterday, like a really strong urge. I really wanted to go, so I called Max up, and I'm like, I'm sorry for the hard time I gave you about Dark Knight Rises, because I get it. I want to go watch this movie again really bad. So he's like, right? And we talked about the movie again for another 5 minutes, but it's nothing that you didn't hear on our review that we did Thursday night. Moving on, the comedy world lost a legend this week. Gary Shandling was 66 years old. He passed away on March 24th. He's best known for The Larry Sanders Show, some small role in Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, What Planet Are You From? What Planet Are You From? I remember the first time I watched that movie. I think I watched it maybe 4 or 5 times in a short amount of time, and I laughed so hard. And he was always fun when he popped up in the Marvel movies, seeing him at the end of Captain America 2 with Hail Hydra. Dude was funny. I've seen some of his stand-up and other appearances on late-night shows, and he was on Comedians in the car getting coffee. He was a really funny guy, and the comedy world lost a bright star this week. Mike, what are your thoughts on Mr. Shandling?
Yeah, kind of the same as yours. I mean, I saw a little bit of Larry Sanders Show. I saw a little bit of his stand-up routine. I remember seeing What Planet Are You From and enjoying it enough. And I just remember kind of the scene where he's like in training and is sitting across from the female android or whatever, and he's saying, "You have a lovely dress." They're like at a dinner scenario, and it's all about like how these aliens can have their A game, and he's like, you have a very lovely dress, and she's like, thank you. He's like, may I insert my penis into your vagina now? You may. And then he just says it so like deadpan that it is hilarious, and then you see like the crowd of like students in the background, like, doing like fist pumping or thudding their feet in applause. I just remember that scene. I liked his appearance in Zoolander very much. That's my profile picture right now. Just because ignore the beautiful celebrities, Derek, and you go past like Little Kim and Fred Durst, and then all of a sudden there's Gary Shandling, like classic. And yeah, I did like his appearance in the Marvel movies as that senator. He had very dry, very deadpan, but at the same time a really funny guy. And we're losing too many talented people already this early in the year, so cut it out, Mother Nature.
Mr. Dan?
Sorry, Dan?
I don't really have a whole lot of experience like watching him apart from like bit parts. I mean, he seemed cool, and I do agree with Mike that we are losing way too many celebrities way too early. Phil?
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Dan. I didn't really know him too well. I remember the movie Jason's talking about. I think I probably Jason had me watch it with him, but it's been so long that I can barely remember it. I do remember his voice a little bit from some of the more unique roles he did in Over the Hedge and things like that, where he did bring that comedy, which I did appreciate. And it is interesting how through the years things can go, and some years are harder than others when you're losing celebrities, and this happens just to be unfortunately this year. Jason?
Yeah. This week I lost Gary Shandling and Fife from Tribe Called Quest, which somebody I'm a huge fan of. So it's been pretty crazy week as far as talent goes, because especially in the hip-hop genre, they can't afford to lose any more talent. But moving on to a little lighter fare, we got the first trailer for Seth Rogen's Sausage Party. And I remember Seth Rogen's one of those guys that if he says he's going to make a movie, whether it's about killing Kim Jong-un or a Pixar-style film, the guy does it. And I remember sitting down and watching it. I don't know if Liz knew it was Seth Rogen when I first turned it on, because halfway through the trailer she kind of had this like what the fuck look on her face. But we sat down to watch it, and it does look like a Disney movie. Like it plays so straight at the beginning, you know, and then the buns, the hot dog buns, and the oh my god, it goes, and then when they're peeling the potato. I am a Seth Rogen fan. I like This Is the End. Neighbors was a surprise chuckle for me, and Knocked Up. This guy, for me, I think he's hilarious. Whether his movies are always strong, that's another story, but he is always funny. So I cannot wait to see this movie. It is going to be a good one. Philip?
Yeah, so for me, I thought it was interesting because I actually didn't realize, I didn't actually know about the news. So I actually was in that boat that you were talking about, like Sausage Party. I'm like, wow, what perverted Disney exec got that pushed through? And then I'm watching and I'm like, wow, this can't be real. I'm like, hot dog buns going in and a hot dog going in it? I'm like, that's getting on another level of innuendo here. I was like, we're not getting past hinting, and then they start peeling the potato and it's screaming in bloody agony. I'm like, okay, wait a minute, that voice, I recognize that voice, that's Seth Rogen. And then that's when I picked up on it. And yeah, I have no idea how good the movie's going to be, but I'm looking forward to just watching the hilarity ensue. I honestly love a lot of Seth Rogen's movies. Usually they tend to be, even though I've never, I tend to enjoy the pot movies for whatever reason. Even though I've never experienced pot in my entire life, I tend to enjoy them. And so I'm curious to see where they go with this. I didn't hear the entire cast. I'm sure Jay Baruchel will be there. I'm sure they've got to have James Franco in it just because, they're best buds. So I'm looking forward to seeing it and seeing what they turn into this movie because it just looks crazy and insane. Mike?
Okay, yeah, I saw the trailer, and I mean it's funny for what it is. I don't know. I hope just the initial appeal of seeing a foul-mouthed, raunchy comedy done in the Pixar style. I hope it doesn't wear off after 5 minutes, and because I agree, I like Seth Rogen comedies such as This Is the End and The Interview, but at least those movies, aside from something in the plot, don't rely heavily on a singular gimmick. Like, at least with The Interview, sure, it's controversy surrounding the whole let's kill Kim Jong-un, but at least the characters were engaging enough and funny enough that the story could have been about anything else, and I would have been fine with it. Same with This Is the End, where they're just playing themselves and just camping out during the apocalypse. At least they themselves are funny enough and engaging enough to propel whatever comedy's on the screen. I really hope that's the same for this, and that it's not so much about, like, look at all these cute little food items being brutally murdered and yelling out "fuck" and "Jesus Christ" and hot dogs. Yeah, there's gonna be a hot dog bun sex scene in this movie. There's no way there can't be. As long as the gimmick doesn't wear out its welcome, sure, fine. I'll go see it anyways. No problem. Dan?
I hope that we didn't see all the funny scenes in the trailer, and there's actually like something else going on. Because as much as I liked seeing a potato peeled and being in intense agony, I can only laugh at that for so long. Yeah, I mean, I hope there's something else to the movie. And with this team, you may get it, you may not, with their track record. So, yeah, I'll check it out, I guess.
Yeah, I'm gonna put my faith before until I see the movie. I'm just gonna ride on the faith that this should be pretty good. But another trailer dropped. Lego Batman dropped amidst all the Batman v Superman controversy, and this trailer was really funny. I liked it when he put the lobster in the microwave. That was really funny. And I like how he's walking around the mansion still in his bat mask. I can't wait to see this movie. They got Michael Cera playing Robin and Zach Galifianakis voicing Joker. Will Arnett as Lego Batman is pretty hysterical. Dan?
Yeah, I mean, this, given how Batman was in the Lego movie, I mean, I actually really want to see this movie. I thought the trailer was funny. I mean, it's a teaser, so you don't really get what's going on much, but it's just like a little slice of life as Batman at home, wearing his stuff, trying to microwave a lobster. I like it. Phil.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like, I was curious to see where they were going. I was skeptical when I clicked on the trailer. I was like, I remember his character being interesting, but it looks like they're actually gonna go for it completely and give you, I guess, a guy dressed up as Batman, walking around living normal life in the classic sarcastic way that is his Lego Batman character, which I thought was funny and really well done in the last movie, and I'm interested to see where they go with it. I hope, I guess for me, I hope it doesn't. I hope they have more to it. I guess that's what I'm hoping for. But I'm definitely interested and intrigued. Mike?
Yeah, as long as it's got the same energy and spirit that the Lego movie had. I find it funny that we're going to see a fully realized Lego Justice League before the actual Justice League next year. And I'm just thinking now, I kind of wish we had that trailer before Batman v Superman, just to culture shock the hell out of the audience. It would have been just great just to see like them laughing at Will Arnett Batman, then all of a sudden like crying because of Ben Affleck Batman brutally murdering people. Back to you.
Oh, this is so bittersweet that we're going to be talking about Daredevil Season 2, and Max isn't here. This is like the one topic he really wanted to discuss, but we got to do it. So Daredevil Season 2 happened, and it was amazing. I don't even know where to go with this, so I'm going to let somebody else go first. Philip, take us into Daredevil Season 2.
All right, so you kind of want me to get a little, I guess, introduction. So basically, you kind of kick off with Fisk in prison, and you basically are watching...
Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert. If you haven't seen Season 1 and we're starting to talk about Season 2, you're funny. But yes,
I just mean this is going to be a very heavily spoiled...
Yes, Daredevil dies. So...
Don't do that to the audience.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, but, his coffin shakes at the end.
There you go. Exactly. See? Done. And he's going to fly at the end. And he's going to be in the Justice League next year. Go. Basically you end up with that, and as you kick off, I actually like the way they started. You start him in full action as Daredevil, enjoying it. Not debating on whether or not he enjoys it, just giving in and enjoying the pleasure of knocking out bad guys. And I love this season because it just kicks it off. You get Punisher quickly, relatively quickly you get into the Elektra storyline, and it's just there. It's not as heady as the first season, I will say that, but it's definitely well done. And throughout the season, you're kind of exploring the dynamic of the law firm and kind of like how he's going to adjust to that with being Daredevil as enjoying Daredevil and kind of him contemplating his role, which I thought was great. Trying to think what else kind of plot lines. You get the Punisher. You actually kind of get the full arc there. Let's see. I don't know if we really want to go too much into plot. How much more do you want me to go, Jason?
Start talking about what you like and dislike.
All right. I was going to say, I'm going to be here a while if I actually dissect the show. But what I really enjoyed this season, obviously, was that they kicked it off with a bang, and they got into Punisher quickly, and I felt it. Barenthal as Punisher was amazing. I felt he was perfect for the role. I figured he looked the role, but then as he played it, like his, I guess there's no better way to say it than just like he just seems like a raw nerve that's been rubbed raw, just more and more, and just gritty and disturbing, and why I always enjoyed the Punisher game. If for any of you that haven't played that, because he brings that game to life of straight torture, and then, all right, yep, I'm done torturing you. I've got my information. Now you're gonna die. And I enjoyed it. That may be a bit sadistic of me, but I did enjoy that a lot. And then Elektra, I thought was interesting. What I liked more was kind of, I don't know, the Hand is a little bit more complicated for me. I think I'm going to leave that there talk as far as the dislikes. Let's see, we'll talk about likes. And I think other than that, I really loved how they actually brought in his full, I guess, is it his bow, his staff, essentially, that actually can break apart and then be used as a, oh my gosh, what am I thinking? I'm missing the word. Basically a way to descend buildings. Good Lord. Dan, why don't you come over from here as I'm drowning over here?
I take issue with one thing you say, Philip.
What's that?
As a Punisher fan, I didn't think that John Bernthal really looked like the Punisher when he shows up.
Why? Because he's missing the skull?
Well, no. The Punisher is like big, beefy dude, and he doesn't seem like that. But the more you get into the story, the more I completely bought in. I mean, he does a masterful job of being the Punisher. I mean, the first time you're introduced to the character, you don't see him. You just see him blowing the hell out of a bar full of Irish gang members.
Yes.
And I'm watching this going, please be the Punisher. Please be the Punisher. Yeah. About halfway through the series, you get his backstory for those that didn't know. And, I mean, he does a very job being the tormented soul that is Frank Castle. I mean, you've had 3 movies, didn't even come close to this. That makes me kind of sad. But Daredevil season 2 further than season 1, which was amazing in its own right. I action in the series. Talking about, the hated about Batman being that Batman himself in Daredevil, you see Daredevil fight a lot, and it's really so I'm going to send it to Mike.
Okay. Yeah, I like this season of Daredevil quite a bit. I do feel it's a little bit of a sophomore slump for the series, but at the same time it's still very good because it's doing different things than the first season did. Okay. It is getting into more...
I like this season.
Dynamic action, and it's getting into more elaborate stunt work and a more elaborate story with regards to mysticism and other broader concepts. I like the fact that a lot of the actors stepped up their game in this show quite a bit. Eldon Henson really is still... Foggy is one of my favorite characters, and he more than holds his own, not just as a character but as a lawyer in this movie. I love Bernthal as the Punisher. Yeah, he doesn't have the necessary build build or look that you would typically associate with the character, but he made me actually give a crap about the Punisher, because I never give a crap about the Punisher. But his whole like monologue in, I think, about the third episode just kills me every time I watch it or every time I listen to it. And yeah, I'd say it was pretty well balanced. I liked Elektra quite a bit. I liked the direction they were kind of taking certain things. I like the integration of other Marvel tie-ins. It wasn't as heavy-handed as it was last season, and a couple of surprises here and there that were very welcome. So yeah, bring on more. Did we already go to Phil, or go back to you? I guess.
Yep, that's me. The episode where they're on the roof. Punisher and Daredevil was my favorite episode of this season because you really got into both of their psyches a lot, and like Dave already touched on it, but I'm going to touch on it again. John Barenthal as the Punisher, I cannot believe the performance that guy gave. 1 second, he's terrifying, and the next second he's making you on the verge of tears just listening to his story from everything that he's got so far. Gone through, with his losing his family and just so much, and he does a good job of conveying that emotion. And there was a scene, the action in this was terrific. The fight choreography, I think it's a huge step up above season 1 and season 1 of Jessica Jones. Like, Marvel just keeps coming out with these shows on Netflix. I wish their ABC shows could be as good as their Netflix shows, but I guess one step at a time. Just keep it going, guys. I cannot wait for Luke Cage. This was awesome, and I can't wait to see them all together. I can't wait to see Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Luke Cage, and Iron Fist on the small screen together. It's going to be a good weekend to binge come September.
I can't wait for Nick Cage to show up, too.
Recruit them for the Avengers. That's right. So yeah, moving on. Are we moving on? We gotta talk about dislikes. Yeah, let's go into dislikes. Dislikes this season. I'm gonna Philip. Go ahead.
For me, I guess it's more or less just kind of the Hand storyline. It seemed like it was actually going to be really interesting, and then it was kind of a bit of a letdown. That Elektra was the key piece of it all. So I thought it was okay. I felt like it was the way of, well, how do we get her resurrected and back to the character that we all know from the comics? Because I guess, spoiler right there, Elektra dies at the end. And then she ends up in the hand of the Hand. So for the most part, I think that was probably my only issue, really. Other than that, I do understand what Mike was saying, that it was not as depth, as interesting as the first season. This seemed to be a lot more action-oriented. You got some good in-depth episodes with the Punisher, but I felt after you kind of started to resolve that Punisher arc, you kind of lost some of the steam that they had. I thought Karen Page, what they did with her was great to kind of balance it out, but that's kind of what I felt. I just didn't feel the emotional connection with that storyline as much. Mike, are you ready? Matt? Dislikes?
Yeah, basically what I was kind of mentioning a little bit earlier was the fact that there did seem to be a little bit of more focus on action, like you were saying, and more focus on the spectacle than about character. The Hand storyline, I was okay with it. It just felt like in the last 2 or 3 episodes there was a mad dash to the end of the season, and that it maybe went along a little too quickly for my tastes. I kind of wished it had been paced throughout the whole season a little bit better than that. And the Punisher's inclusion into the big fight at the end, I was kind of like, well, okay, I feel like we told the Punisher story pretty well. I didn't really see the need for him to come back all of a sudden. It was cool seeing him kind of help out a little bit, but for that 1 second. But I didn't really need that so much, and I was just as happy to let him just go off on his own into his own series, hopefully.
Yeah.
Diane.
Yeah, I thought it was really cool when the Punisher showed up at the end. It made me happy, and it's like he shows up and he goes, "Hey, Red, you know, you're kind of my buddy anyway," while I'm shooting ninjas in the head. I don't have a whole lot of dislikes about this at all. I like the hand because it brings us ninjas, and I like ninjas fighting Daredevil. I don't like the fact that the Punisher never got to go like mano a mano with a couple ninjas and just like mow them down. The main thing I didn't like was that you see the Punisher leave with that gigantic like 50 cal, giant minigun, and he never uses it. And some of the Elektra storyline I thought bogged it down a little bit. Other than that, yeah, I thought it was terrific.
Yeah, I'm in the same camp as Dan. I didn't find too many negatives with it, but I did notice a couple parallels with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The foot, the hand, Splinter, stick. Just saying. But negatives. I'm trying to think. Sorry, I like the end too because I feel like throughout the series we kind of saw their respect for one another kind of change. And at the end, it just kind of solidified that Punisher respects Daredevil, and then, just the way I really like the ending. I do agree some of the Karen Page and some of the Elektra stuff did slow it down a little bit, but I mean, I'm just nitpicking at this point. I thought it was a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see where we go from here, and I want that Punisher series as well. Moving on to our final topic, at least on my end, which is Marvel vs. DC. Why do fans insist on picking sides? We as comic book fans live in a world where we get Arrow, we get Supergirl, we get The Flash, we get Captain America, we get Iron Man, we get the Avengers, we get the Justice League, we get Superman, we get all of this stuff, but yet we pick sides. Like, I'm DC, fuck Marvel, or I'm Marvel, fuck DC. It's like, why? They both have their downs. Iron Man 2, Superman, Batman v Superman, and they both have their ups. The Dark Knight, Captain America 2, the Avengers, Arrow, Flash. And then Gotham is a down, but Marvel also has Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which, in my opinion, that show sucks too. So, there's a lot of good coming from both companies, and I think we, as fans of this culture, forget where we came from, because I remember a time when we didn't get these kind of films. So let's get into it a little bit. Mike, what are your thoughts on the fans insisting on picking sides?
I don't know, because I really haven't. I mean, you see it on internet comments and YouTube comments all the time, like, oh man, whatever, Marvel's way better than DC, or Batman v Superman's gonna be way better than Civil War. I mean, you see that in like anonymous comments where people probably just say that just to instigate stuff anyways. With regards to actually hearing about it on the streets or in person, I haven't heard anything about a Marvel DC division since I was like in elementary school, when stuff like that mattered for some reason. I've always enjoyed different things from both of them. There's a lot of fun stuff on DC side and Marvel side, and there's a lot of shitty stuff on both of them. And with regards to movies, I mean, yeah, sure, Marvel probably has an advantage right now because of it's just had a longer history of success in the movies now compared to what DC's trying to do. But like I mentioned earlier in the Batman v Superman discussion, DC can catch up, and DC can tackle that subject matter in a different way and maybe provide a different perspective or different tone that Marvel might not be too comfortable trying. DC can be the one to venture in there. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't have much to say about Marvel versus DC stuff because I'm a Batman fan, but I'm also a Spider-Man fan. There's good and bad on both, and I just feel like that rivalry is something that, I don't know, really die-hard fans who really obsess over the properties can probably talk your ear off ad nauseum about why DC is superior or why Marvel is better. I'm a casual fan and nerd of everything, so it's all good for me. It's just more good stuff for us. Phil.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, as far as my perspective, I'm kind of in the same boat as you, Mike. I don't really see the Pepsi Coke hatred or the, what's another one, like Xbox, PlayStation.
The Union versus the Confederacy.
Well, that's a little too real.
Trump versus Clinton. See, I got it in there for you. Go, Philip.
That should be Max, not you, Jason.
Max isn't here, buddy.
But yeah, like I can definitely see some arguments. I mean, to me, what I've seen is how some people will claim, and I guess rightfully so, when I actually look at the back history, because I'm not a huge comic book guy, of Marvel ripping off DC or vice versa, DC ripping off Marvel. They're both two creative entities that are gonna overlap. I mean, Darkseid and Thanos. I mean, I've heard that comparison. And then at times you get characters compared to one another, which I haven't really seen anything outside of Darkseid and Thanos that I can clearly say, yeah, they seem very, very, very similar, if not exact.
Plastic Man, Mr. Fantastic.
Okay. So yeah, I'm not that familiar with Plastic Man. I have heard of it, but more just because I watched the DC animated series. But as far as that goes, I really think it's silly. I mean, I think the hatred in general is silly. When we try to create these things and say, no, mine's better than yours, I'm like, realistically, we should want to have everything accessible. And we do now, which is cool. I mean, obviously for a console, it doesn't quite work that way because it's a big expense, but like your soda, your beverage of choice, you can choose whatever you want, and you should enjoy it. You should realize and relish what you like. Same with the comics. Same with everything that you can. Take that variety. Appreciate life. Mike?
I think I was actually watching the DC Rebirth live stream thing yesterday, and this kind of came up a little bit that kind of clarified a little bit of it for me, was the fact that it just depends, like you said, on what you're looking for, but also on how you view the companies. DC, I feel, is about the legacy. It's been there longer, of course. It's been there since, in one form or another, since the mid-late 30s with Action Comics and Detective Comics. But it's a lot about the legacy and the iconography of characters, whereas Marvel is about the relatability. Marvel's about, you know, putting you in that world. So whatever you're in the mood for, whatever you can appreciate from either side, it's fine, because there are times where I'm in the mood for Batman. There's times where I'm like, you know what, I feel like relating to Spider-Man right now.
Exactly, Mike, and that's, I guess that's my point, really. It's don't put yourself on one side. Now, I do believe the internet has bred a lot of that, for better and for worse. Obviously, I would say more worse in this case. But then again, I may be showing, you know, my age as I get older, as I don't see the need to just hate on things. I was like, I'm anonymous. I can hate everything now. That seems to be what the internet has created to some extent, for what I believe is no reason. Obviously, bullying and all that, I'm not going to go that serious. But anyways, I don't get it. But at the same time, whatever. Enjoy what you can, and don't fight for the sake of fighting. It's silly. Actually appreciate somebody else's perspective. Jason, you want to go before we can check out if Dan's ready?
Yeah. Just to add, I agree. You know, if anybody out there who is a Marvel or DC fanboy, you're kidding yourselves if you think that Marvel and DC do not want each other to succeed. Because, you know, Batman v Superman not getting a great critic response doesn't... it's not going to hurt Civil War, but if Batman v Superman had been amazing, Civil War may have done just a little bit better, because they would have rode that momentum wave from the previous comic book film and so on and so forth. All of these comic book movies, they in a lot of ways they need each other, because if we start getting a string of bad films, it doesn't matter which studio is making these comic book films. It's going to tarnish the comic book film name, and I for one support it all. Image, Valiant, if they're putting out good stuff, check it out, because we benefit 100%.
You can have the playful rivalry going on, but yeah, you're very much right about the fact. Let's say, okay, Batman v Superman, critically it's not doing well, but if it had been a box office bomb, I guarantee you Marvel Studios would have been kind of like, oh crap, as well, because the one thing they might be fearing is the idea of superhero movie fatigue, and any superhero movie that comes out can signify the downfall of the superhero movie, definitely, for all companies. So they while they want to be kind of the superior product, they're like, well, hopefully that does well, so we can keep on doing what we're doing and just do it better than them, or what we feel is better than theirs. But I do like the rivalry that goes on, such as Batman v Superman comes out, but the week before, let's just drop a Captain America trailer with Spider-Man in it.
Yeah, I mean, these
DC, it's like.
Yeah, Mike's right. These studios need each other, because let's in theory, let's say Batman v Superman. I mean, obviously it didn't do well critically. Let's say Civil War comes out and it doesn't do well, and then X-Men Apocalypse, and we start getting an effect of movies that aren't so good. It's going to affect all of the studios making comic book films, not just Marvel or DC. So it's good for us to go out there and support all of the quality material that they put out. And unfortunately, we didn't get a quality product this weekend, at least not up to the standards that it promised just by the trailers. But I mean, it's going to affect Civil War, not a lot, but if Batman v Superman had been amazing, Civil War would have done just a little bit more, if that makes any sense. Dan?
If I had time, I would go to my comic boxes and pull out my Bruce Wayne Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. comic. I mean, they did do fun little crossovers before, and I don't see why we can't do that again. Those were highly amusing. It's just not I don't know. I mean, you get fanboys of anything, as Philip was saying. I don't understand. Like, what's good for one is good for all of them. Because if DC turns out a bunch of crap, eventually it's going to taint everything. And, you're not going to go see Marvel movies. As far as them copying each other, yeah, there's a lot of that, Phil. But which one's better? It just depends on who's got the better story arc going at the time for you.
That's true. And
that's pretty much all you should really worry about.
They share writers and artists all the time, back and forth between the two companies too. Jack Kirby worked for both companies at one point.
Yeah.
So I mean, this Marvel vs. DC thing, sure, they have a friendly rivalry, and I think it's just that, a friendly rivalry. I think that they respect one another. They've done crossovers, like Dan said, Bruce Wayne, Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. I used to have that book too, and I have the Justice League versus Avengers book up in my room.
Yeah, is that the one where Thor's hammer and only Wonder Woman can pick it up?
I think so. So we did get a comment from our good podcasting mate, Rondell, who says, screw DC. Well, Rondell, you didn't show up on the podcast, so your opinion is null and void.
Yes. You are not here to back your claim, sir. I apologize.
In other news, Rondell is going to be doing a review of Sleepless in Seattle next week, so you guys can all check that out. That should be a lot of fun. Just kidding, buddy. We love you. So that's I think all we got on that subject. Philip, video game news, anything?
I mean, you could go with the latest rumor that everyone's trying to push around that Nintendo did refute, sort of, which is that the Wii U will be discontinued. Their statement of that not being true was, well, we're going to continue to make them until the end of the fiscal year. which for those of you not in the know, Nintendo's fiscal year goes from March 31st to March 31st. So them saying it's not going to end in the next fiscal year is really a non-news story, which the rumors could be true. And if the other pieces of all the rumors, I mean, this is literally a giant. I'm in a room full of rumors right now behind me. If these all fall in line, like pundits are predicting, I think we will see the NX announced sometime soon, and probably with, I still don't know what. That's the problem. Like all those rumors that we saw, I don't know what the next device is. The last rumor I heard was that it's going to be a portable type device, which if it's that, then why would they discontinue the Wii U? Leverage it. I don't know. I don't see it happening, but then again, Nintendo has been fickle to say if they release a console, they usually don't give it but a year. Dan, what are your thoughts? I know you're a little more familiar with Nintendo than me.
Yeah. As far as I've heard, the NX is supposed to be a handheld and a stationary TV system. Like the idea seems to be like you can take it on the go and then plug it back in. It seems like a cool idea, I guess. There's been a bunch of weird rumors about the controllers. Some dude looked at that goofy little oblong patent picture and made it. What do you call that? Made it with a 3D printer.
Nice.
And then fooled everybody for about 6 hours until he said, "Hey, I made it with the 3D printer." But even if they stop production on the Wii U after their fiscal year, that doesn't mean they're not going to sell it and or support it after that.
True.
I mean, I'm pretty sure they've got warehouses, and I'm a fan of the system. I really like it, but it didn't sell well. And I'm pretty sure they have warehouses full of Wii U's somewhere that still need to be sold. So, I mean, I would think it would be on the market at least for another 2 years, and they'll support it after that.
Yeah, I agree, Dan. Yeah, I think a lot of it is just paranoia on people's part because they're not used to such short console cycles. But if you look at Nintendo, other than the Wii, they really don't traditionally have extremely lengthy console cycles. So it'll be interesting to kind of see where that goes. I was going to send it over to Jason, but it looks like we've got a guest star, Matthew McConaughey. Nope, he left.
Thanks, Philip. Dan, do we have anything in comic book news?
We should. DC Rebirth.
Sorry, I had to unmute there. I looked at the Rebirth thing, Rebirth. There we go. But it wouldn't load, so I don't have any of the names of the comic books.
I can give you
Mike.
Yeah. So they did a live stream event at WonderCon yesterday morning, and then just had the whole live stream up. And basically, one thing I got out of it, Dan DiDio needs to turn his mic off when he's not being asked questions, because he laughs at every stupid fucking joke, and his laugh is Seth Rogen levels of annoying. So that's what I got from it. Yeah, they brought up a bunch of different creative teams. They brought up the Bat family of books, so it's going to be, I think, Batman, Detective Comics, which is going to go back to its original numbering, and Batgirl and the Birds of Prey, and I believe Nightwing. Dick Grayson's returning to his traditional black and blue togs instead of being a secret agent. Superman is coming back. Action Comics goes back to its original numbering. Supergirl, comic about a Chinese Superman. Aquaman, Titans. What else was there? They had a bunch of other titles too that they have the creative teams for, but they didn't announce anything else beyond just the titles and the teams. But there's some titles that seem kind of interesting. The Flash Rebirth idea, the other Flash Rebirth idea sounds interesting. They're going to be having like Flash training a bunch of up-and-coming speedsters around the world, apparently, because the Speed Force like unleashes energies on unsuspecting people, and that they're going to have like an actual speedster serial killer at loose called Godspeed, which that sounds pretty cool to me. I might stick around for the Bat book, even though even though Scott Snyder's leaving the main Batman title, he's working with John Romita Jr. on All-Star Batman and Robin, which is not going to be a continuation of Frank Miller's goddamn Batman, All-Star Batman and Robin. It's going to be set within the Rebirth continuity and focus more on like showcasing classic Batman villains and rogues. So I might stick around for that and some of the other titles. Otherwise, it just feels like a lot of stuff is being just reshaped a little bit. Not necessarily another hard reboot. It just looks like the universe is getting cleaned up a little bit, but we're still getting a lot of the New 52 stuff carrying through. So we'll see. I mean, Rebirth #1, I think, comes out in May, the 25th, I want to say. So it's supposed to be an 80-page book. But the good thing about that is also they said their books are going to be shipping every 2 weeks for a lot of their main books, going back down to $2.99 price. And the Rebirth 80-page #1 will be $2.99 as well. So that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
I know they're also bringing back, they're redoing another Hellblazer one because Constantine wasn't doing well. And you've got Blue Beetle and Green Arrow.
Yeah, it's going to be a Hellblazer and Swamp Thing, I think, teamed up.
Awesome. That's pretty much how it started out, for me anyway, so that makes me happy.
All right. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Let's get to some plugging and commercials. All right. When I'm driving in my Lincoln, I like to listen to Audible.com. Just go there and get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audible.com/3geeks. I'm not an impressionist. I'm sorry. I just went with it. But anyway, you can also check out Mike on youtube.com/Mike McGTV. I will be trying to find out where Max is because he completely vanished. He cussed me out because I didn't put Daredevil on tonight's roster, and I did, and he's MIA. So we'll find out where Max is. Also, check out in the description of this video, there's a link for TeePublic. Definitely go there. Help support us. We're going to be looking for new ways to present the podcast and live stream. So any T-shirt you purchase helps us get that set up. Also in the description is a link to Mike's YouTube channel as well. Follow Mike on Twitter at MikeMcGTV. And follow us at 3 Geeks Podcast. We are 11 followers away from 2,000, so we are pretty excited about that. What are you doing, Mike, over there?
What am I doing where?
Oh, I don't know. You look like you're about to say something.
No, I'm a project that I'm working on, but yeah.
Awesome. And again, check out our Audible link, which is also in the description. Thank you all for the support. We appreciate it. We'll see you. Oh, 2 more things. Frady Geeks will happen this week. Animaniacs is Tuesday night at around 9 o'clock. Sports Nerds is back. They recorded a show on Saturday, so definitely check that out on our channel. We have our first set of screeners came through, and we are going to present those reviews too. It's Puppet Master 4 and Cannibal Women of... Dan, do you remember the title?
I just thought it was Cannibal Women, but maybe there's more.
There's a whole list of titles. Let me get this looked up real quick. Sorry, just bear with me for 1 second.
The Avocado Jungle one?
Yes, Cannibal Women in the Avocado Jungle. So thank you to Full Moon Entertainment for those screeners. And from all of us at the 3 Geeks Podcast, have a great night.